Good morning. This is the Crypto A Day Morning. Today's date comes in that of the 2nd of March 2019. My name is Derek. All bets trades of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. And as long as Bitcoin remains inside of this 18 average, this is day number 6 of doing so, following a decent sized red candle down day move from a previous Fibonacci resistance hit, supporting a level that was previous resistance. And if it breaks out above it, we'll be looking to test the 41, and then if breaking out, the next Fibonacci level is in at around a little under 5,000. And if this table is unable to hold and it breaks through, we got 3,470 as its next level. Let's switch over to Litecoin against the US fiat dollar. It's currently in at 48 and around 3/5 or 2/3. As it has been, it's the 6th day for this. It's the exact same thing as far as having a decent size day down. But this one is looking to break out above, and I like how its probability odds look for doing such. As yesterday's session came up to the 18 average of highs, it pulled back a little bit. It looks like it pulled into this level of resistance. And I'm going to put a level of a line here and take a look at this on the short term. And I haven't verified this. But with that being stated, getting it above in here, this thing is breaking out most likely. And when we view this via the weekly term time frame, how it has this green move, this green week in February. And now this is period number 3 of pausing it, staying above, but I like within it how it's not really going down from its closes from that week. It did a little bit the first one, and it was just a little bit. Barely above the 18 average of highs and above this Fibonacci level. Key level that it, and then in this one, the week before, it managed to barely pierce above and really tested this level of previous support, and then continuing to hang in there as we've seen there on the daily. Looking at that line that I put in on the hourly time frame, we can see it was perfect support here, and yeah, this potential to me looks very, very good. And then looking back again at the weekly chart, which I'm going to put in the Fibonacci levels from the low and the high, which is this high and this low. And in here, I'd be looking for this to pierce above 63, especially with this resistance here in at 53, meaning I think it's going to do more than a $10 gain higher on a break of this resistance, but it usually pierces extra as it is anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up maybe closer to 75 as that level. But I think the more bigger level would be that 1.25 number. On the way down, I was stating I don't think 100 is really going to be that much support. It's definitely on that exact number, no. And I'm going to say the same thing on the way up. I don't like to sail at that number I show, like 98, 98, or if I think it's going to go to a number, I like to microscopically go lower than where I think it's going to go. And therefore, I think it's going to pierce above this. So I would even think 130, which means 129. If I want to play conservative, I'd go about 122, realizing it would probably even get above 125 as well on that of its next move. As usually when you get to resistance, though, that usually means you stop going higher. And how that works out, well, let's switch this off to, well, let's not switch it off to THETA. Actually, let's do it and go back to Litecoin. And the reason why was because I didn't want to just transition into this because I got more Litecoin to cover. At least it's cross against Bitcoin and Ethereum. But this was a level of resistance from the November 30th day, like a really one-day move, and then it's open on Binance. Before this, when it was traded on Huobi and any other exchange, it was on a bull run coming up to this level. So this is its all-time highs at 4,048. This price target or this price level was 3,695. So far, we're at 3,990. So it has pierced above this high, pierced below this one. And in looking at such on the daily, it's now on day number 4 of stop going higher. So it's resistance so far. Resist and obviously getting above this, you're talking those big gains. And it's been one of those wait and sees if it is, because the price hasn't corrected through that of price. It's been correcting through time by just doing 3 pause days. A little bit of price correction on this day as it went down to 3,408. But yesterday's low was 36.11. Today's 35.69. Really hanging in there at that 3,600 price. 4-hour term time frame, we do see how the momentum has gone very neutral from a very powerful uptrend. And on the single hour time frame, how it's working on really reverting the trend. And you could even say that it is in early bear market territory, because this was stage number 1, which was band flattening out, resisting here, leaving it. So you'd be okay at 36.27. That's short, just to see how it does. Still wouldn't be stopped out, because that probably be above this line here. And that's another way of saying if it gets above this 37.50, so many reasons why this thing could just get going, especially if it can hold and stay above it for more than about 3 to 5 hours. Okay, let's cross back over to Litecoin, and I got plans to show the cross against Bitcoin and against Ethereum next. As short term, this thing is up pretty high. This is at highs not seen in several hours. This particular hour, it's the 8 a.m. hour, 8:44 as I'm doing this. On the daily chart, it's what I call a double bottom. It's what a lot of people would call a double bottom. Basically, 2U or 2V-shaped formations. Oftentimes, they'll happen in bear markets, but this is when it's happening in a bull market. I don't care if it's either or, because what preceded the 2U's or the 2V's, and this was a fantastic uprun. We make it to this high. The market was very overextended when it was around 128. Comes down to there. It's not as overextended here. It was looking to break out, but it failed. But within its failure, it just matched its previous low. Now it's looking to do the same thing by attempting to get above this 18. And it's back in here at 128, so overextended here. Not even close to being such. So therefore, the potential for upside, one easy way, and I don't like doing it this way, is you could calculate the distance of where we came from. So 113 to 129, that's a differential of 16 points. So that's a little better than 10%, 11%. That would be about 145 or so, and maybe that might be it. But what I would rather do is take a look at this. Where do we got for key Fibonacci points, key previous levels of resistance, and what looks real, just what looks obvious. Sort of like the theta at 3,600, it went to 4,000. It was just a twice hit previous level, as this is here, and it's more than twice hit. So the big level of resistance is about 2.25. In between there, this is congestion area. It's just entering it from here, still a little ways from this one. You'd be looking at about 169. And then if we look at this on the monthly term time frame, which is just a bunch of choppy up and down action overall, which is why it's ideal to trade this. I'm going to ignore this down move, although easily could have taken advantage of it, but this is a real high period. So what I want to do is I want to take the Fibonacci from, we'll say, this high, which coincides in here, and I'm going to do it from this low. So let's just do 3,220. And then this would be a low of 302. It looks like, yeah, 302 even 0.2. And via the calculator that I made, what I do is I take high divided by low, which is a number a little over 10. Put it to the root of these numbers, 0.618. This is what the root of it is to these numbers, and I multiply it again by the low of 302. I'm really concerned about these two numbers and even the 76.4. So the answer is 1842 handle and probably piercing above that. So we'll say 1850. But let's focus on 750 and 1300, or handles, that is. And I think the weekly would probably be the best to focus in on, obviously. So So 750 again was a level of where this happened to bottom and is rolling up from. 1300 is where we're resisting it right now. Okay. So this correction back before the move in here, the correction in 2017, was one that was leaving bullish territory because everything above the 130 number is considered bullish. Everything below the, this 750 number is considered bearish, and holding and staying below it. When it makes a big move below it, it's like, oh, it's looking to attempt to go bearish, and then it spikes back up, and okay, well, screw that attempt, it didn't do it. And overall, when it comes down to how this played out back in 2017-18, it was an attempt to break this thing out, and it obviously failed to do so, but it didn't fail to keep on trying, basically. And because this is just magically happening to resist right now at 130 currently, and it's that level that we're looking to be breaking out of within the neckline of this double bottom, it's a pretty big situation, and getting above this is attempting to put this in a long-term bull market, definitely early stages of it. So testing the 76.4, previous high and new highs are the next three target levels. So therefore, and I'm not going to mathematically calculate any up targets, but just use realistic math, but I do, of course, have the numbers here. So 18.5 handle, then the high of 32, and you would have to think 70 to the 9 handle, at least a 2.5 to 3x move. I would think, if and on the situation of a break of resistance. But where we stand now, of course, is the attempt to break this, make a move to its previous 160s area as well, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if this really just blows through with a dollar term, that $60, $70 level, blows through the 100, and then we'll see how it works at 125 area. And now switching over to Ethereum. This low here at the 207 handle, it's at 365. It was at 4, so it's had a 2x move from its end of year lows to its so far yearly highs against it. Like against Bitcoin, breaking out above its 18 average on its weekly time frame, basically chopping up and down. But since the lows of the summer of 2018, it's trying to end the choppiness, because choppiness is above the 18, then below, then above, then below. So here's above, then below, above, below, above, and well, this is all it did below. Overall, it's still in the sideways range though, which is all part of that choppiness. And if you're talking about the strategy that I talk about that's in the more information box, they thrive well in these just choppy up and down markets, sort of like Doji against Bitcoin as well. It's pretty much what it does. And in this case, there's still this previous level of the resistance from the end of 2017. It could even possibly get above that. I mean, why couldn't it? If the buyers or the people like Litecoin over Ethereum more so even at that point, then sure. I mean, it got above this level of resistance from here, and that's what markets have the potential to do. But it's been holding well again from that point on this long-term time frame, breaking out above this resistance. And I know it only means so much, but I'd be looking for this to go up to this high. And the reason why I say it only means so much is this is literally a case of division. And what's the price of Ethereum? What's the price of Litecoin? You can look at the dollar price. You could look at its Bitcoin price. It doesn't matter. Divide the two. At least if you divide Ethereum by Litecoin, you're going to get a number around 0.36543,149 right now, in that ballpark area. And then, of course, if you divide the other one, you're going to get a number lower than probably about 3.24. I'm curious. 3.3? Well, that's 33333 is 3. So the differential on that is over 10%. So you'd be talking about 3 even. 3 even. Oh, by the way, the DGB Litecoin ratio is 43:45. I did that earlier today. That's what this number was. I took the Litecoin price and divided by DGB. I'll put a bonus DGB content at the end of this video too. Okay, so we do 1x 273, way off on that. Okay. So the Litecoin to ratio to Ethereum is 273 or 0.365. And DGB just has incredible volatility. What I'm thinking about doing is taking about 2/3 to 3/4 of the Litecoin that I'll end up getting back from Cryptopia, which is a decent amount overall. Not too large compared to my portfolio, but still decent. It's still about probably 10% or more. So therefore, I'm going to take about 7% or 6% of my Litecoin overall when I get them, and then buy more DGB with it, just because I own a lot more Litecoin than I do this. And I like the potential this has for extreme moves. And this is just over since 2018. This is, wow, 230 up to 770, and it came down from 70 down here. That's just incredible to have a 10x move, and that 10x move is just this in here, this high to this low. So this was a lower low than 70, and this was obviously a higher high at 2,500, more than that, and then the 700 level. On the daily term time frame, a little bit of a pullback today, well extended. This is that situation that I talk about that I don't like, when a market has a big level of a high, comes down in a price correction, then it comes back and usually overextended as it gets there. And when you're above the 18 average like this, sure enough the case, what are you going to do? How much resistance are you going to find? I made a very small sell at 303. And that's the reason why. It's small, I don't know. And it's just a look to buy back at 251. It's a trade against Bitcoin. So I have a buy order at 251. And I'll look to sell another small amount on a break above resistance. And looking at this and here, where are we going to go if it breaks this level? After all, it's a pierce below here. It's a well pierced below this. So that's what I would be thinking is in this range. 321 up to 335. 320 to 340 is a nice little short-term move. Thank you for tuning into today's video and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.